Hey, patrons. Thanks for watching. This is part one of a little three-part series. Just some notes from all of the coaching from 2019, kind of wrapped up all together. Now, no matter who these clients were, no matter what part of the world they were in, and no matter how old they were, right? Some in their 20s, some in their 40s, I found that these three steps were very important in their process. Now, this video is only going to cover step one, which is being aware. Now, there are a lot of buzzwords today. I'm sure you can find a guru about awareness. There's spirituality, there's health, there's 1,000 different little tech products to tell us how much we're sleeping and how many steps we take and all that. Now, this is all good, right? We're taking a bit more effort into being aware of actually how we spend our time, right? We each have 24 hours a day, no matter if you're rich or poor. Now, how do we spend that time? How do we spend our thoughts, right? Maybe you're anxious and you worry a lot and you spend a good chunk of your waking hours worrying. So you need to be aware of that, right? You can't compare yourself to somebody who's having a great life and say, why can't I be like that, right? Maybe you have the same resources. Maybe you're in the same situation. You're just choosing to worry, and they're not. Who knows? I don't like to compare apples to oranges a lot. My life coaching focuses on you and who you are. And so no matter who you are, you can be more aware of what's happening in your mind, what's happening in your life. How do you spend your money? How do you spend your time? Who do you spend your time with? What are your goals? How close are you getting to those goals? Things like that. Now, with my clients, I've been teaching them a number of little tricks to be more aware. And feel free to use these if you want. Obviously, write things down. That's a good one. Some people prefer to keep journals. Some of them are private. Some of them publish their journals. I even know people who publish their accounts, right? All their spending every year. They tell the world how much they spend on food and drinks and transportation and all that. Whatever floats your boat. Just try to be aware, right? If you're having money problems, you really need to understand how many pennies are coming in and how many you're spending. Be aware of how much time you're taking on tasks. If you watch Netflix, write down how many movies or shows you watched. Figure out how many hours that is per week. If you like to cook, set a timer. See how long it takes you to buy groceries, walk home, cook the meal, wash the dishes, okay? If you have pets, make sure you calculate dog walking, right? Things like that. Taking them to the vet and all of those things, right? Just start to be aware of what your life actually is, right? Pretend an alien came down and said, what do you do? What do you think about? And don't assume they know anything. Say, well, I think a lot about my future. I think a lot about my career. I'm nervous about my relationship with colleagues. I'm always trying to impress my boss. Things like this, right? Take notes of these things. Be very aware. We can't work with something unless we know what it is, right? You can't cut down a tree unless you understand the axe in your hand, right? We need to figure out what tools we have, right? We need to figure out who we are before we can move on to steps 2 and 3. And even if you never get to 2 and 3, just being aware of what you're currently doing can actually make you a much happier person. A lot of times anger comes from frustration, and frustration comes from not understanding what's going wrong, right? The same way maybe an animal can't open a garage door and it doesn't understand why sometimes the door opens and sometimes it doesn't, right? So frustrating. And a little bit of awareness, seeing the human push the garage door button, right? Even though they can't touch the button themselves, maybe they say, hey, at least I know the door's not going to open unless a human touches that button, right? So that's what I want you to do in your life, is start being more aware. Now, this may take 20 minutes. It could take a year for you to be comfortable in how aware you are in your life. And this could be for everything. Like I mentioned, it could be finances. It could be appearance, right? Maybe you want to look good for certain occasions and you want to feel comfortable other times. Maybe you go to the gym in your pajamas. Maybe you go to gym is kind of like a dating scene, and who knows? You, right? You know what you want. Well, some of you do. But you at least know kind of who you think you are. And awareness here, step one, is going to give you a more complete picture of that. Now, don't be ashamed. If you have some habits you're not proud of, this is not the time to ignore them. This is the time to face them, write them down, right? If you spend an extra 2 hours sleeping in, if you know, watch videos all day on your computer, hey, admit it. That's who you are. Write it down. You need to be aware before we can work on stuff. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. That's the point of this Patreon. Get a little community thing going on here. Um, Stay tuned for step 2 in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.